Hello, this is Derek Ross, Program Coordinator for First Peoples Development. We are going to be talking about the annual operational plan today. Under this document, there will be three tutorials. This first one will be talking about the organization info screen, which you see in front of you, and the Part B Table 1 summary. So to get started, this is an example First Nation annual operating plan that we're going to look at. So we'll start off with entering your First Nation, the fiscal year that you're dealing with. These project numbers will automatically be there. If you don't have those numbers, call our office and we can provide those numbers to you. Also, with your annual allocation, you will need to get that information from us as well. So with this example First Nation, we want to put in the allocations for CRF, EI, daycare, and if applicable, First Nations Job Fund. Under this example, we have an annual allocation of $66,382. Now, if there was a carry forward from previous year, and you would know that probably in the fourth quarter if you weren't spending all your money, you would need to put the carry forward in this spot here, and then on the next line justify that carry forward. So explaining why it wasn't spent and what you're going to be spending it in the first or second quarter of the new fiscal year. It needs to be expended by the second quarter. Okay, so that's the EI part there, and then CRF, same thing. Put in your annual allocation. For this example, it's $158,482. Same thing, carry forward and justification. The other thing I didn't mention on the first part here is there's total funding from other sources. This funding is strictly Services Canada. If you were doing some projects with ANSI, which is Aboriginal Affairs in Northern Development Canada, formerly INAC, you would be putting those source revenues in this area, and would probably be CRF amounts with regards to the CRF and different programs. EI is basically Service Canada. So then the third line item there is the childcare. That same thing, $44,819 has been put in for this example First Nation, and also the project number and justification, as well as funding it from other sources you would put in. And then First Nations Job Fund, which is a INAC/Service Canada partnership with regards to social and employment and training. There is 4 First Nations that we have presently that are in this pilot project. So under this example, we don't have the numbers here. Okay, so we are going to move to Part B, Table Summary. And once those numbers have been plugged into the organization info sheet, they automatically appear on the annual allocation line up at the top here under funds available. Once that's done, we are going to be with those numbers as well. Those numbers are going to show in the table summary, as well as tables 3, 4, 5, and 6, which is the cash flows. So with the table summary, in the next tutorial we will be looking at plugging in numbers for the core costs, the administration costs, which is the blue, the core program services, funded program services, partnership development, and childcare programs. And you see these numbers here now. They wouldn't be there if we had started at the top with the organization info sheet and having no numbers there, but I've got the numbers in already in the funded programs, and so that's why these numbers are here, and I'll show you how they got there. Sorry. So what we need to do here is this amount that we've plugged in is after we've taken 5% of the allocation. First Peoples Development administers the 34 sub-agreement holders agreements, so 5% is taken off the top, so this is after that 5%. So dealing with that, that's what you have left for your programs. And then that would give you 10% for your administration costs, which would be your salaries, your mercs, and your overhead of your office. And those numbers are going to come into this box, these boxes here under CRF and EI and daycare. Then you have your core program costs, services. And this is where you deal with the clients. If you are a smaller sub-agreement, which this one is, there is just the coordinator, and so she or he will be doing all of the work, administrative and core services, but there's also an 80-20 rule. So if they're doing more clients, 80% or more working with clients and less than the 20% administratively, then it would be 100% core services. So that's why we show the total amount here of core program services in this line item here. The funded program activities that we'll get to is all the programs and training that the coordinator will be doing with clients as they come to them in the office and want to take some training. The next piece is the partnership development piece, where they will be spending some of their time working with partners such as training institutes and employers. So the time that they spend with them, that amount would be in this line item here, which would be their salaries. The next area is childcare programs, and that would be here under the CRF file. So we'll get to that after the funded programs. And if we scroll down here, the total amount has to equal the annual allocation amount. And then the next line, the administrative percentage, that shows that we have to keep it under 10%. And under EI, because of the administration costs, there is no administration costs as per the program coordinator doing all the work, dealing with the clients. That shows at 0%, and then 7% of her salary and overhead has gone into administration costs. So we've kept it under the 10%, which is good. So we will stop this tutorial and we'll work on the next one.